What up, y'all? Shots with Jay back at it again with another one. I know it's been a minute since I've been recording, just been a little caught up with life, right? But I noticed, right, on the last post that I've done, a lot of people have been interested in the Beretta APX A1 Compact. I know also the other post that I made on the Beretta APX A1 Tactical. I know a lot of people had questions about that or wanted to know a little bit more about that. And yeah, recently I picked this one up. It's in the same line, the same family, which is the APX A1. And this is pretty much Beretta's competition to M&P, to Glock, to HK, SIG, and for the striker fired pieces right here. And they're super high quality. I already did a whole review on this, so I'm not going to go ahead and do a whole review of this. I'm more just going to compare this one to my LTD 19, right? But pretty much, man, this, you can just get crazy deals online for it. Super duper worth it because the military, they use this in one of the military trials, hopefully for the US, and it was not accepted, right? They ended up going with the SIG P320, which was probably like the worst decision America could have made. But I would have much preferred that they went with this. Now this is the compact version, right? But it's still made with the same durable internals, things like that. And it's basically the full-size version of this, which is like exactly the same other than the dimensions. The internals, how robust it is, the durability, the features it has, all of that. Metal magazines, 15 rounds for the compact. Man, I really like it. Oh, and the full-size magazines will work on this. I went ahead and confirmed that in my last range session. Awesome piece, awesome fiber optic sights. Honestly, it shoots really good. Not a single hiccup, not a single jam. Everything was flawless. Sights were on point, bullseye accurate. I mean, I don't have enough good things to say about this. Definitely duty rated at 100%. Can't go wrong. Just pretty thick for what it is compared to other pieces in its size, which is in the compact area. But, like I said, that can be a good thing as well because it tames the recoil, helps mitigate some of that muzzle. But for concealability, you would have to maybe work around it, considering how thick it is. It won't work as easy as something like a shield or anything. But it's not to say you can't do it. You can easily do it. It's still compact, right? And I want to compare that with this piece right here. So this is my Terran Tactical 20 round magazine. And this is my LTD 19. Look at that. I just need to add a light on it. I wasn't too sure what light I should add on it. If you guys have any good lights that I can maybe add on this is a pretty much upgraded Glock 19 clone. Awesome piece. It's not cut for a dot. That's probably the only thing, but I'm one of those where I don't really mind if I have a dot or not. I like to think of doomsday ever happens, you got to be super proficient with irons. So I'm more than capable as well with the irons. I feel like I'm pretty good, at least decent enough to hold my own ground, you know what I mean? And with or without a dot. So definitely can't complain about the irons. I love this gun, man. This gun is pretty cool. I know before I had said that this was a Timney trigger. It's not. This is actually a Shadow Systems trigger. I don't know if I mentioned it on the video or in the short, but yeah, this is from Shadow Systems. And it's here into the LTD 19. Also took it to the range to shoot side by side with this. And they are both super flat, super short, crisp trigger. I really like it. I know a lot of people don't like the Shadow Systems trigger, but somehow for whatever reason it actually works better here on the LTD 19 than on the actual Shadow Systems platform. Which is kind of odd because on the Shadow Systems platform, a lot of people will say it can have some creep, a little mush, things like that. And I can honestly tell you, like, when you actually fire this on the range, it feels totally different than dry firing, you know what I mean? Which isn't bad like that either. Super short I really like it. I mean, can't really have anything to say about that. And for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to be comparing it with my Terran Tactical mag or Terran Tactical base plate mag. I'm going to just go ahead and compare it with a stock 15 round Glock 19 mag, because here on the Beretta, the stock mag is also 15. So 15, 15, flush, flush. It seems pretty fair, right? And honestly, I'm having a really hard time deciding between these two on which one I should pretty much carry. So this one does have a slight mini magwell that's already included. I really, really like it. It kind of locks my hand in, if that makes sense. I really like it. I also put some goon tape around here. I ordered a Talon Pro Grips sheet, and then I went ahead and cut out some squares so I can put some index points. That's the only area this thing lacked in. You can argue, yeah, it can be some texture up here, right? But I mean, it's all right. Like, I'm not going to go ahead and put something right here. I'm totally satisfied with it like this. For the texture, man, Beretta, it wins at 100% with texture. With texture, I got to give it to the Beretta because automatically it has points for your index, kind of like little memory pads. It has one right here, and if you got like longer fingers, it has it extended for your support hand here too. It has it on, you know, each corner, so you can go ahead and go shorter, longer, depending on your hand length and your hand size. Checkering in the front and the back, which is really good because that's where the hand grips. And then the side, it's more of a smooth texture, which is great because it won't create too much belly rub if you try and carry it. And a lot of people don't notice this. Right here, it actually does have texturing. It's kind of a mixture between this and the smooth texture, like a middle ground, and it has it on both sides too. So it has it where this does not over here. This is just plain smooth. I still like it though, right? I'm not gonna like lose my grip or anything, especially because I have that magwell, locks in my hand, things like that. But for this, doesn't have a magwell, but this texturing, it definitely wins. It's pretty hard to beat this texture. One of the best textures that I've ever felt, one of the most ergonomic pieces I've ever felt, ever. You know, and that's a big statement to make. You know, I do think for texture alone, I think M&P is still probably the top dog, but man, this is a close one. It's probably number 2. And of course, I'm talking about the way it is stock OEM out of the box. But since I already have a few little things done to this, I'm going to go ahead and compare it like that, right? But if it were stock texture, I mean, straight up this, I really like this though from Talon Grips, the Pro Sheet. And, you know, they won't come off for many months, even if you shoot quite a bit. I mean, I really like it, man. And, you know, the texture here, it's super underrated. I can't believe more people don't even have this piece. It's pretty insane. Like, the deals that they have, the rebates that they have, the history. I mean, this is qualified to even compete in the military trials against the other top dogs. Like, this is not, you know, some standard civilian piece. You know, this was built for the military, available to civilians. Of course, right, this is the compact model, which is more for civilians, but it's still based off the military blueprint, if that makes sense, because it's based off the full size, same durability, same internals, same robust nature, things like that. So with that being said, this is 100% duty rated. There's no question. Duty rated, 1000%. Made in Italy, great finish, all of that. You know, not really too many things to say about it, man, other than that it's really good. And I know that they have that trigger that you can upgrade it to. It's like the croc trigger, the crocodile trigger, whatever. But honestly, man, let's check out the trigger. It's pretty good, especially, again, on the range when you're actually shooting live rounds. It doesn't feel the same as when you dry fire, and that just kind of goes with any piece. I think Glock does feel the same, but let's go ahead and check this out, right? So you got that safety blade that you got to press down, okay? Little push that you got to do right there. But right there, you got a defined wall, right? That's the brake. Let's check the reset. Second time. Not too bad, honestly. It's a really good defensive trigger. And on the range, I mean, it's pretty quick. You can get quick with it. And this one, I already went over it. Pretty good trigger. Not really anything bad to say about that. I really like it. Now capacity 1515 stock. Now we're gonna go ahead and compare the actual size between the two. It is fair to say though that I do have the large back strap right here, right? And people are gonna be like, well, maybe you should have kept the standard medium back strap if you're gonna go ahead and compare these. Not really, and the reason is because this slide on the top is so thick, right? Check that out. You don't even see really any, you don't really see it protruding from the side or anything like that. Now, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that this is so thick that if you were to use the small back strap, it would be less wide. The width would be more on the slide than the grip. So in other words, it's not going to affect anything, right? Okay, so let's start from the top, and I can tell you right off the bat, right? The Beretta APX A1 Compact, it is heavier than this one. I just feel like it has a little more weight. I'm not sure too many ounces on that. Gotta go ahead and get me a scale. But you can definitely tell that this one weighs more than this one. Let's go ahead and I'll check it like this side by side, right? You can go ahead and tell the thickness of this thing. And just so we're clear, the LTD 19 silver slide right there has a 4-inch barrel, flat. Not 4 point something, not 4 point this, that. 4 inches flat. And the Beretta APX A1 Compact has a 3.7 inch barrel. 3.7 inch barrel. And you can kind of tell. You see that at the tip right there? You got the 4-inch barrel slightly ahead, and you can tell that it's about 0.3 off. That's about what it looks like. But yeah, anyways, go ahead and tell on the thickness of that. Very similar size though. Look, from the very back to the very back, I'd say that's about even right there. See? So not too much of a difference in length, but enough to slightly be noticeable. So in that sense, you're going to go ahead and say this one seems more concealable, especially if you carry appendix, but it is a little bit thicker. So it really depends on your needs, right? Like it's not like it's a pro or a con with this and that. There's different needs for different situations. I really like this thick slide 3.7 inch barrel. Man, this gun is kick ass, right? If you guys can go ahead and get one of these or even the full size ones, I'd go with the compact, right? Because for me, that's just like the Goldilocks area. You can do it all. Duty, home defense, carry. Compact is just a do it all, right? All purpose, multi-role. And I would go ahead and get one of these, right? The deals are just so crazy. Do not pass up on it. The serrations. Now, the serrations, man, okay, so on the original APX, the serrations went out of the slide. I wish I had the pleasure of going ahead and trying those, but for now I have this one, which is the new upgraded, the APX A1, and the serrations don't come out of the slide. They're cut deep into the slide. These are kind of similar to Walther serrations in the sense that they're super deep. Everybody knows how deep Walther serrations are. And they're really nice, honestly. They're pretty grippy. Like, you can't really miss it. You got a few up here. And again, they're one of the few that get the serrations right, because I don't like when companies have them half here but full here. It has them all the way up and all the way down just the way it is on the back, right? But if you go ahead and get a latch on one of these, like, you have literally no issues racking it at all. Like, these serrations are pretty good, not gonna lie. And over here, these serrations over here are a lot thinner in comparison, but they're really good as well. Honestly, I think these have less serrations but deeper, and then these are not as deep, but they have tons more serrations. These feel definitely a lot sharper. You can definitely feel the bite a little bit more into your fingers. They both function exactly the same. I can't really put a winner on that. For the serrations, okay, so texture, we got this one, right? For the serrations, honestly, I gotta give it a tie. I just have to, and the reason is that it's just different, but of the same value, if that makes sense. I'd put them at the same value, at the same level, just different. deeper and wider but less, and many more but thinner. But you know, totally the same usage, right? Has a few slide cuts right here, and has a good not really sure what you call this, right? But it has some little lining here at the top of the slide, and that's pretty cool. But that's just more cosmetic and slide aesthetics, things like that. And here you do have the APX engraving, just to go ahead and show you what you're rocking, right? It's kind of a flex. Now, even though this one is optic cut, okay, you gotta go ahead and order the plate system for whatever sight you're gonna use on Beretta. So it's not direct mount. Okay, you cannot just order a sight and put it right on this one. You can go ahead and get those on Beretta's website. They used to be able to give you a code if you bought one. If you bought a piece, you can go ahead and use like a voucher code, and they'll send you a plate. But now Beretta's not offering that. Sad days. So now you got to go ahead and just buy the plate. From my understanding, it's around $50, which is pretty expensive. So that's one con with their sight, their optics plate. It's one that it's not included. And the second one is that it's not going to be optic it's not going to level with your iron sights, right? And one can say, well, it's because you don't have iron height sights. I mean, optic height sights or suppressor height sights. But there are a lot of companies, right, where they do go ahead and coat witness, and these just don't coat witness. So you're going to go ahead and unfortunately lose your serrated black rear and your fiber front. You know, it's just an unfortunate thing. So with that being said, if some guns have, you know, just like for me, these sights are so much better than these U-notch sights, because these are just the standard Glock sights right here. I don't really want to lose these sights, so I don't think I'm gonna put an optic. But like if I ever did, I would switch out the sights, just because co-witnessing is so important to me, just in case of the dot fails. You need some backup sights, right? But I don't really want to go through with that. I really like the sights here, so I'm not too sure if I'm going to put a sight here. May not, but I'm leaning towards that I'm not. And then here, I'm not going to go through the trouble of getting this thing cut, then putting it on, and then swapping my sights. I'm pretty proficient with these U-notch. They could do the job. I mean, it is what it is, right? It's not like in a real defensive encounter, you're not going to really be using your dot anyways. In real life, the statistics show that it's always going to be between 3 to 7 yards. I'm not using always literally right there. I'm using always as in almost always. It's about 90% if you do the research. About 90% of encounters, and that's with law enforcement, civilians, it's between 3 to 7 yards. Come on, man, let's get real. 3 to 7 yards, you can definitely use your irons, no question about it. Now, going ahead and talking about their magazines, right? As I was, this comes with two, by the way, two 15-round magazines. But like I said, you can use the Beretta APX full-size magazines, whether that's the tactical or the standard, and those are 21-round magazines. It has the extension at the bottom, and I did go ahead and confirm that you can use those on this, right? Which is pretty cool. Also, before I forget, right, this thing does have a magwell included. Out of the box, right, LTD 19, you know, props to you, Lone Wolf. Lone Wolf is pretty good with that. And they don't have, you know, a magwell from Beretta. But what you can do is you can go ahead and there is one company out there that does a magwell for these, but it's not a little magwell like this. It's kind of more of a competition size. So I don't think I'm going to get that, because that's going to compromise on the concealability and what this is really for, which is, you know, to carry it. Now, you know, the goal is to print as least as possible. So with that being said, I don't think I'm going to go ahead and get that magwell, although the idea is cool. However, if you do have the full size, then who cares, right? Because you're not going to carry that anyways. Range toy or home defense or, you know, things like that. Go ahead and get that magwell, right? But it's pretty expensive. That company, it's like $100 and something. I'm not even kidding. It's metal though, aluminum, but still pretty expensive. Yeah, so the magazines, right? 15 rounds. totally metal, okay, other than the base plate right here. And Glock, you already know how I feel about Glock's plastic magazines. Um, but what I am happy about is how they, one second. What I am happy about is that they do have steel inserts, right? So on the inside it is metal, so you don't gotta worry too much about it. Like you're fine, right? You're fine. You're not gonna like lose anything by getting a Glock mag or by using Glock or anything. Their mags are plenty cheap, and it does have a steel insert. I just don't like the idea of it falls from a certain height. You know, things can chip or crack a little bit, but honestly, in real life, you're fine. They've been using this for many years. You know how many times people have had to reload in real scenarios and things like that, like law enforcement. Like nothing's gonna happen to your mag, even if it's fully loaded. I'm just saying if it's at a specific height and stuff, or you know, just things like that. You never know. So I'm not gonna really knock down too much points on that, but I just wish it was more metal like this. But since it has the internal metal, that's fine, right? Height wise, so I did go ahead and compare these in my room last time, just kind of looking at it, but it's hard to tell a little bit on the camera. But this one actually is a little taller, right? You can kind of see the bottom, there you go. See? Right there, little taller. And I mean, it's not too like much of an issue, right? Because ultimately this is going inside the firearm. So this is not really, you know, unless you go ahead and carry a backup mag, but really the difference is just, you know, it can be ignored. Nobody's going to notice that or anything like that. But since I want to give you guys all the information, is the Glock mag more compact? Yes. So in other words, you can carry more. It holds more rounds in a smaller package, if we're being literal. Another thing is Glock, where I will give the win, is on the witness holes for the rounds. You see each and every round. From, well, not each and every one, right? Starts at 5. But you guys get what I'm saying, 5 all the way to 15. You're going to know exactly what you got. Right here, you got 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 15, right? Kind of a little scattered on the numbering right there. But either way, the whole point is that you're not going to get every single, you know, round indicator. If it's between these points, you're going to have to kind of guess. That's just the way that works. And for right here, you know, you're going to know in each and every one. So for that, you're not going to guess too much, right? Because you'll see somewhat into where they're at. But, you know, just to have the exact number down. So Glock wins on the magazine if I had to. I mean, I like how this is metal, but the witness holes, so metal here, and then witness holes Glock. Texturing Beretta. Barrel, right? Everybody knows that Lone Wolf has some of the best barrels out there. So originally Lone Wolf was just this company that offered all these upgrades for the Glock, Glock 19, Glock 17, 47, 45, you name it, right? So one of those things that people would upgrade a lot is actually in their barrel, right? Lone Wolf has really good barrels. I actually just cleaned this. I oiled both of these two like 2 days ago after the range use, right? My whole point is, right, that Lone Wolf is a company where a lot of people, and I could really do a better job cleaning this right there. But anyways, my whole point is that a lot of people get the barrels, right, because they're really high quality. What does that mean? It means it's going to last you many, many thousands of rounds. Literally, right? Like you're not going to be going and replacing this barrel anytime soon once you get one. So Lone Wolf ended up saying, you know what, we're always making all these parts. We're making this for Glock. We're making that for Glock. Why don't we just build our own Glock? You know what I mean? This is their Gucci Glock. This is their upgraded Glock. It pretty much has all the features that people would upgrade to already, you know, without having to go ahead and get it done. It has an extended mag release right here. It's like a pretty big button. I like it. It's serrated. It has extended takedown levers. Not too sure on the sizing with this, right? Again, I already told you about the texturing. It lacked. It could have done better there. What's it called? And it also includes a mag well. Tons of slide cuts right here. Gucci serrations. Some on the top as well. I mean, they really went off with that. Even right here, kind of like a little side V cut on each side of the slide right here. At the muzzle point, I really like that. Super aggressive looking. Kind of looks like a race car. So when it comes to the slide work, I mean, there are different things, right? You got to understand that This was, an upgraded version of the Glock, right? But for just what it is, I mean, they did really good slide work here as well. The finish is great. But as I was trying to say, when we go to the barrels, right? The barrels, now, Beretta, they do have really good barrels. They're also going to last a long time. Their barrels are freaking expensive, okay? You go to their website. You check out Beretta's store, right, where they got everything, parts, mags, they got barrels and everything. Their barrels, I'm not even kidding, right? Not just for this one, but also the full size. It could really be for a lot of their pieces, right? Their barrels are from like 200 to 350. I'm not even kidding. Beretta's barrels are pretty expensive and they're high quality, right? It does show a little wear right there, right? But they're gonna last. Like you can tell this barrel, right? It's pretty good. Like you can tell it feels super hefty, feels super durable. Now Lone Wolf's on the other hand, they have great barrels. It doesn't feel as, I guess, oomph as the other one. But I mean, again, they have the track record to prove it. Everybody would buy Lone Wolf on their barrels. Why? Because they were great. They last many thousands of rounds. The twist rate is great. The rifling is always on point. I mean, Lone Wolf, I mean, they did their thing there. So for barrels, right? Man, it's hard. I mean, this one was for military trials, right? Using the same barrel as well. But this one, it just has a crazy track record. But it wasn't for the military trials. Honestly, I'm gonna have to give this a tie, man. On the barrels, I'm gonna have to give this a tie. You do see a little wear right there, but again, who cares? Super expensive barrels built for the military, bro. Who cares? And probably shows a little less on this just because it's like silver. But either way, man, what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, it even has like some numbering and parts right there. Yeah, the barrels are a tie for sure. It just, I'm gonna give them a tie. Can't really say too much more on that. Grip, right? Again, I told you that I put the large one on this. Yeah, so that was one thing I didn't like about the LTD 19. Can't really swap out the grip for this. So it doesn't matter though because the size was just right for me. I just went ahead and put on some goon tape right here because the texturing, I just feel like, not that it was slippery, right, because the magwell would still kind of hold my hand, but compared to what everybody else is offering these days, it was lacking, just straight up. Not trying to down them or nothing like that, right? But you gotta be real with how it is. And their texturing was of 10 years ago, okay? Maybe even more than that. This is modern day texturing. This is what everybody wants right out of the box. You don't have to do anything to it, ever. You have it right here. You have it right here. You have it everywhere, dude. Like, this texturing is great. And don't even get me started on the actual ergonomics, on how it feels. This feels like it was built to, it's like an extension of your hand, literally. This is the yin to your yang. So, I mean, I went ahead and touched on some points that I thought were of the most importance, right? And ultimately, you can't go wrong with either one of these, though. I'll say that. I'll definitely say that. And but here's one of the biggest, most important points. This right here, now you can get them a lot cheaper, right? But MSRP, right, when this came out, this was $750. Okay, why? Because you have upgraded serrations, you have lightning cuts right there, you even have kind of like a V cut near the barrel at the muzzle point. You have extended takedown levers. You had a different trigger other than the Glock one. You had a extended mag release. You have a magwell. So yeah, I totally get it, and it makes sense considering Glocks. I mean, what, $650, $750? So what, $100, $150 difference for all these upgrades? Not bad. I totally understand it. Aside from the cut for the dot, you know what I mean? So I can get that price point, but right here, man, right here, this is like one of the best values you can get. Now the rebate, it can go from $75 to $100 back, and that's aside from the price that's already lower than a standard Glock, okay, which is just as robust, reliable, and durable. Does Glock have the better track record? Yeah, because more military and law enforcement have went ahead and used that. But you got to understand this is a lot newer. Glock's been around forever. The APX line is not that old, bro. Man, I mean, this is can't go wrong with this, man. So, out of the box, I'm gonna rate this one just for what it is, right? Compared to the value you get it at. So that means I'm gonna compare this to what you can get it at, and I'm gonna compare this to now you can get them cheaper, right? But originally MSRP was $750. 1 to 10, man, just for everything it came the way it was out of the box. I'm gonna give this like an 8. They did a great job, but on those 2 points, it has tech string is a big thing, right? Tech string, and for that price, I mean, they could have put a damn cutout for a dot just in case people wanted it. Maybe different sites too. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. 2 points, yeah, because it's not a 7, bro. I mean, this is still an LTD 19. I'm gonna give it an 8, right? Just for what it is. That's not to say this is better than this one though. I'm just saying for the value that you're paying at. So that's an 8. This, I'm gonna give it a 9, and the only reason, okay, the thing that's lacking is 1, there's no plates included. 2, they're $50. Okay, that's a lot of money for a freaking plate for a sight. And then 3, even if you were to get a nice sight, it's not gonna co-witness with these sights, right? But these irons are great. Front fiber, black serrated rear. I mean, only thing though is aftermarket can also be lacking on this. And then with this, since it's based off the Glock, the world is yours. Anything you can think of, you can do it, right? So that's my comparison right there. I hope it gave you guys a different perspective on what we're really looking at right here, what you can really do. Honestly, right here, I'm thinking of, right now, this is my carry, okay? It used to be the Shield in 30 Super Carry. It still periodically is every here and there. Nothing wrong with the 30 Super Carry round, just never took off. But in a real life scenario, what if I ever need another mag? Or, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, right? I love the Shield. I love 30 Super Carry. It's just not my main right now, okay? And I'm thinking of really swapping to this one. Right now, it's more leaning on this one. I kind of carry everything every here and there. But right now, this is what I've been carrying more lately. But I think it's going to be this, man. Even over this, right? Even over this. And the reason is because I like how it's a 3.7-inch barrel. I like how the mass of the slide kind of tames that recoil. The ergonomics are probably the best I've ever felt. Really good. Really, really competes with M&P with the texturing and the ergos. It's kind of hard, man. It's really head to head right there. And just the value that you get it at. I mean, I don't know. I really think I want it to be this, man. I really want my main carry to be this. And I just got to go ahead and break it in. Put in about 150 to 200 rounds. I need about 200, 300 more till I feel comfortable. Just to make sure that break-in period's there. You know, where all the springs are already loosened up, including the mag. Things like that, right? You know, when it matters, it matters. You know, when that time comes. And I really want it to be this, man. I'm going to give this one a 8. I'm going to give this one a 9. Just overall. Okay, well, let me know what you guys thought about the review. Let me know any thoughts, any comments, anything you guys have to say about the sights, the magazines, the ergos. If you guys have one of these, let me know, right? Even if you have the old APX line, if you have the tactical version, if you have the APX A1 carry, which is a single stack, or if you guys have a Glock 19, an LTD 19, or a Dusk 19, let me know, right? Because Lone Wolf, they are the shit, right? Lone Wolf is pretty good. You can't really go wrong with Lone Wolf. Let me know. Super curious on what you guys got. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate it.